Hey, do you ever feel like you can lose weight, maybe 10, 15, 30, even 60 or 70 pounds, but you always end up seeming to regain it all back later, if not more than you did before? If so, I absolutely get it. This is something that I have seen for the last 20 years as a fat loss fitness coach. And I want to help you to overcome that so that you can lose weight that never comes back, but we want to do it in a way that you actually don't feel miserable, you're not deprived, and we're not taking you away from what actually matters most to you, your career, your family, your life with God, these sort of things. If so, you're in the right place. I'm going to go ahead and dive in, and we're going to talk about a framework for intentional fitness success, and more importantly, for permanent fitness success. So, hopefully, this is streaming okay. I'm streaming to several different platforms here. It seems to be buffering just a little bit, but if you can hear me, if you can see me all right, go ahead and drop a comment down in the comments below, and we will go from there. All righty. All right. So, very first thing I want to know is, are you gambling with your goals and quality of life, or are you being intentional? Okay. This is your roadmap to stop letting autopilot habits run your life and start intentionally steering towards your goals. Okay. So there's a couple different things that I want you to really understand and know about the process of permanent fat loss. Number one, you've got to recognize the power of your subconscious or unconscious habits. Okay. So what I want you to know is that 45% of your day is spent on autopilot. This is driven by subconscious or unconscious habits. All right. Now, these are routines and decisions that you don't necessarily actively think about. All right. And if they're not aligned with your goals, they are going to lead you right back to your old results. All right. So the thing is that so many people go through life automatically without putting much intention in anything. And I'll paint you just a little bit of a picture. If you've ever driven home from work and thought, my gosh, I have no clue how I got here. I don't remember making any of the turns, the stops, and all of this, but here I am. That's one of those methods, or that's one of those moments where you're on autopilot, you're on subconscious habits. And that's a great thing for things like that you've set intentions for, meaning that you determined where you want to go and you took the steps to get there. That's a great thing. Let me close a couple of my little applications here and see if this takes away a little bit of the lag. So, think we're good. We'll try that. All right. So, the challenge here is that many of these habits were formed from old patterns, right? Like stress eating, skipping workouts, or even avoiding accountability, food avoidance, thinking that certain things are healthy and certain things are not, thinking that foods are bad and certain foods are not, thinking that you need to exercise around the clock. There's a million of these, all right? But the main thing is that without challenging them, you might be reinforcing the same behaviors that got you stuck in the first place. And that's what we're going to do today. So the solution is, you want to start by identifying one or two habits that you need to consciously override. Okay. So an example might be, if you tend to grab fast food when you're busy, you want to start planning ahead with prepped meals or with healthier snacks. Now, when I say prepped meals and healthier snacks, I'm not talking about avoiding fast food forever or avoiding it even altogether. Got a cat hair right in my eye there. There we go. What we're talking about is just being intentional and deciding in a conscious sense, is this food that I'm about to choose here in alignment with my goals? In other words, am I casting a vote towards the fit, healthy life that I desire? Or is this food more so casting a vote towards the life I'm trying to run from, get healthier, more confidence, better sex drive, more energy, the whole nine yards, okay? And what you want to do is ask yourself daily, is this action leading me closer to my goals or simply further away? All right. So you want to use reminders to disrupt these old patterns. So sticky notes on your fridge, alarms on your phone. We have our clients do that a lot. And I know that the alarms on the phone sounds like something tedious, but I promise you, in such a busy world when we're on our phones 24/7 and we're texting, we're doing all this different stuff, having a couple of alarms that remind you that it's time to do something, to cast a vote towards your new life, is really a helpful thing. It doesn't have to be permanent, but again, we're trying to take something that is conscious, something that we have to use effort towards purposefully, And then eventually that effort becomes passive, meaning that we don't have to make much effort. So again, I'll paint you another example. When you first start driving at 15, 16 years old, depending on, again, whenever you're getting your permit and so on and so forth, you initially request that everybody is quiet, the radio's down, windows are up, your eyes are forward, your hands are on 10 and 2, you're very, very focused. This is where most people skip out on when they're trying to get in shape and they're just reacting on their old habits. But when you actually get more proficient in your driving, next thing you know, the radio's up loud, you've got your feet on the dash, or you've got other people. I mean, it's just all the things, window down, you're just enjoying life. Well, if you do this the right way with your fitness, that same thing will happen where you go from the 10s, 10 and 2 to just leaning back, gangster style. Okay. So we want to make sure that you actually disrupt your old patterns, and we do this in an intentional way. All right. Now, the second thing is we've got to set intentions for different time frames. So intentions are not vague wishes. They're specific, actionable goals that you commit to. So success is going to come from deciding what you want out of each part of your life, daily, weekly, and monthly. So a daily intention might be, what do you want to accomplish today to move closer to your goals? So an example might be, today I'm going to stick with my meal plan. Today I'm going to get in a 30-minute workout, and I'm going to put that on my schedule, my calendar. Today I'm going to reach my 80-ounce water goal, etc. And you want to break it down to make sure that you reach those things further into morning, afternoon, evening, and so forth. And so as an example, a lot of times we'll encourage our clients to aim for 7 to 10,000 daily walking steps. Okay. And it's really easy if you're only getting 2 to 3,000 steps to be very overwhelmed by that, because if you're not paying attention, it can be 5 or 6 p.m. And then next thing you realize, oh my gosh, I'm only at like 2,700 steps, and my coach is wanting me to hit closer to 7 or 10,000. This just isn't going to happen. Well, that's you in reactive mode. Whereas if you're in intentional mode, like what we're talking about here, you're going to have 4 alarms where, and again, I realize that sounds crazy, but again, you got to think about, how bad do you really want this? And are you willing to, for a year's time, go through some things that you may not do forever, but so that you can structure this habit and you can actually have the life that you want? For me, it's a no-brainer. If you really focus on pain versus pleasure, the pain of my current life, if it's painful enough and I'm focused on that, I will do whatever it takes to get where I want to go. But the problem is that sometimes people get in that mode that they're willing to do whatever it takes, but they don't realize that the thing that they're doing is not even remotely sustainable. And yes, setting 4 alarms may not be sustainable for everybody for life, not suggesting that it would be. However, there's a plan there. Whereas a lot of times people will go do liposuction or, Metafast or Nutrisystem, any of these sort of things like that. Or even, again, I'm not trying to pick on, First Form and all of that stuff, but people, I love hearing that people are doing challenges, but I'll hear that people are doing, 70 hard, 75 hard, whatever that is. And I'm thinking, well, your life is already hard enough. Do you really need to do something that's going to make you miserable for 70 to 75 days that you're not going to keep up with, and you're going to be like, whoo, done, whenever you're done with that 70 to 75 days? I don't see that as sustainable. So now you could justify that this is something that you start off with, but for me, I would rather teach you some of the ways to actually create some new principles, some new habits that will fit into your life 30 days, 70 days, 150 days, 475 days from now, and you're still glad to do it. And to me, doing things where you're doing an hour-long workout and you're cutting out everything, that's just never going to be something that I'm going to look forward to, nor are most of my clients, right? So we want to make sure that, again, setting those alarms, it would be like, whatever your first alarm would be, 2,500 steps. Your second alarm, let's say at like, 1 or 2 p.m., make sure that you got 5,000 steps. Your third alarm, 7,500 steps. And then finally your fourth, it's going to be before bed. It's going to go off, and you're going to look at it and make sure, like, okay, I hit all of my steps. This way here, you're not at the end of the day reacting to what hasn't been done. You're instead seeing each day in blocks if you're on pace. I actually do this with my clients with water as well, because it's such a huge thing to get enough water, and so many people miss the boat. And then towards the end of the night, they realize, oh my gosh, I've got to drink like a liter of water. Well, that means you're going to be peeing all night. That means that you're just not even going to be able to get it in. So setting these increments are going to help you to make sure that you're doing the things that do lead you to where you want to go, but in a way that feels functional throughout the day. You've got a business, you've got a career, you've got kids. We've got to make sure that you're doing things in a way that are sustainable. Okay. Now, on weekly intentions, you want to think about the habits or goals that you want to reinforce over the next 7 days. So it might be this week, I'm going to make sure that I meal prep all of my meats on Sunday. We don't teach the normal meal prep where you're just cooking all day and putting everything in Tupperware. We literally just teach you to make some meats, like taco seasoned beef, buffalo style chicken, and maybe one other thing. And then you're going to have your carbs ready to go with it, or your fats, fruits, vegetables, whole wheat tortillas, whole grain buns, flatbread, whatever it is. And that way, brown rice, and you're able to just put those things together without a whole lot of effort. And that's what we're looking for. All right. So, monthly intentions. You want to use a broader lens to look at the month ahead, obviously, including your holidays, your events, your milestones, vacations, etc. So, example would be like for this month, I'm going to focus on staying consistent during social events or even during holidays, or I'm going to maintain my progress through mindful eating. What that means is that I'm committing to tracking my food or to doing these things in not just a daily basis or a weekly basis, but I'm going to make sure that everything throughout the month is consistent. All right. So you want to ask yourself, what is it that I want to get out of each situation that I encounter? Instead of just like, well, sorry, Lance, I didn't know what they had at this place, so I just ate the best I could. Well, I teach people in order to plan ahead to do things quite a bit different. And that's what we're going to talk about for number 3. So number 3 is to plan ahead and to be prepared for success. You cannot do things haphazard and expect yourself to be successful in anything. You didn't do that with your career. You didn't do that with your family planning. You didn't do that with raising your kids. And you dang sure don't let your kids do that. You have rules and guidelines that you set and enforce because you know that there are consequences that you don't want them to suffer and consequences you do want them to be rewarded by. So in this scenario, intentions without preparation is just wishful thinking. So to follow through, you need to set yourself up for success. You want to ask yourself, what do I need to bring with me to make my intentions happen? So, for example, if I'm going to a holiday party, hey, it's December, you're probably going to one of these. What I normally teach is that I'm going to bring a high protein snack or I'm going to bring a protein shake with me and drink that on the way so that if I get there and they have nothing with protein and fiber, I've already knocked out my protein, number 1. Number 2, I'm going to feel more full. Number 3, I'm not going to have that ravenous sensation where I want to eat everything that I see. And finally, it's going to also prevent the insulin spiking from being so severe. So just one thing by being intentional makes a big, big difference. Another thing is going to be, again, what else do I need? So for an example, do I need to rearrange my schedule for a workout because something is coming up or somebody's asking for something or there's a doctor's appointment? Do I need to set boundaries for my time to make sure that I have my workout in my schedule so that nobody can book a call with me or nobody can schedule a meeting with me inside of the workout parameters that I know that I need to get? All right. So again, this is intentional living instead of reactive living. Another way we could call this is proactive living instead of reactive living. So let's see. Another one would be, do I need to communicate my goals to others? Now, why would you need to communicate your goals with others? Well, if you've got family, friends, colleagues, coworkers, whatever, that don't necessarily know what you're doing and the fact that you're trying to lose weight, get in shape, and especially keep it off for life, you're probably going to need to let them know so that they are not sabotaging you and they're not offering you things that maybe don't fit in what you're trying to do. I've never seen this go wrong when people notify somebody that they're close with or somebody that they're around, so that way at least they've got that knowledge that what you're doing is something that you take very seriously. And if they give you any pushback, that's when you can actually give them pushback if needed to say, hey, look, I appreciate it. I love the food that you're making, mom, grandma, dad, whatever, but I want to feel good about myself and be healthy. And I know you want that for me too. It's not that I can't have your food, but I can't have you pushing me to get seconds, thirds, fourths, and fifths like what I had before, okay? And by doing this, again, you're just going to make sure that you've got your intention set before you ever get somewhere. All right. Let's see. So you want to make sure that you think through obstacles before they happen and not after. Again, otherwise you're in reactive mode and you're just never going to actually be dialed in. So again, the example might be if I know that I'll be tempted by desserts at the office, I'm going to decide ahead of time to just have one and savor it. Or I'm going to bring something that I know fits in my calories, my macros, my goal plan, whatever, that's still enjoyable. So I'm there and I'm not tempted to eat something or to go off the deep end. And that's what we're trying to make sure. Preparation removes excuses and helps you act in alignment with your goals. You are either in alignment with your goals or you're in alignment with the lifestyle you're trying to escape. There is no other, okay? That's the main thing. Number 4, and finally, we want to evaluate the consequences of every choice that you're making. So every action has consequences, guys. We know this, but we don't think about these. And these consequences are going to be both positive and negative. Taking a moment to reflect on the outcomes of your choices can really, really make all the difference in staying intentional. So the question to ask is, am I fully aware of the good and bad consequences of following through versus not following through? Or am I just really guessing and in reactive mode? That's where most people are. So then you want to visualize the outcome. The positive is if I stay consistent, I'm going to feel proud, energized, and confident in my progress. Whereas the negative becomes if I skip a workout or if I don't track my food, I'm going to feel sluggish, disappointed, and further from my goals. If you are not thinking about the consequences directly of your actions, there's a good chance you're going to find yourself unmotivated. And really, what you're telling me is, I'm unmotivated to work out. You're not unmotivated to get in shape. You're just unmotivated to do the thing because you're only seeing working out as painful as opposed to seeing working out as something that leads to positive consequences. Everything that we decide is going to be based on pain versus pleasure. So it's either going to be you can focus on the immediate pain and pleasure, which usually is not that fun or not that successful. The immediate pleasure of focusing on foods is going to be where, oh, this is going to taste so good and I just want it right now. So you eat it and you get immediate pleasure, but then later there are consequences. The immediate punishment or immediate pain is going to be, oh, I got to do this workout and it's going to take 45 minutes. And I just don't have the energy. Well, you're focusing on the immediate instead of when I get this workout, it only takes 30 minutes if you're doing my program. And later I'm going to feel energized, rejuvenated, and so much closer towards my goal. Focus on the long-term consequences, not the immediate. Otherwise, you're trapped in that the trap of instant gratification. That's not going to get you anywhere where you want to go, I can assure you. All right. Now, the other thing is you want to reinforce your why, okay? You want to remind yourself what's truly at stake. And it's not just feeling better. It's not just being healthy. So many people say that because they don't want to be vulnerable to say, Lance, I am so uncomfortable. I'm embarrassed in my clothes. I feel like my spouse, even though they say they're okay, they're not. I'm embarrassed. I feel like if I were to go to my high school reunion, I would want to wear a mask. I don't want people to know this. Like, these are real things that people have shared when they finally get true and they finally get vulnerable. And that's when the reality hits where it's like, I'm done with this. I don't want to deal with this anymore. So I'm willing to deal with the pain of working out and the pain of some of these other things so that I am done with this emotion, these bad feelings that I don't want, that don't serve me and don't serve anybody around me. Okay. Let me know in the comments if this is making sense. I'm hoping that it is. So both the negative consequences of staying stuck and the positive rewards of making progress, you've got to be focused on. So the example here is I want to fit into clothes that I love, feel confident in social situations, and improve my health so that I can enjoy more time with my family. Whereas again, if you're only focused on, well, I got to do this workout and it's going to take 40 minutes, I don't want to do it, then you're going to most likely find yourself feeling unmotivated because you're focusing on the immediate instead of the real thing that you want, which is to feel better. Guys, if you were to do that in your career, you probably wouldn't get much done. But in reality, you're always focused on, I got to get that paycheck and I want to get a raise or I want my business to grow or I want more clients. Because of that, that causes you to do the daily things that sometimes would feel like an atrocity to some people to get done. And you're motivated to do it without even discipline. And the reason is because you know what's at stake. What's at stake is if I don't do these things, I'm not going to go up for that promotion. If I don't do these things, clients are going to pass it around that I don't do very well, and I'm not going to get more clients. It's the same premise with everything. And the beautiful thing about actual principles is that they are not just solely focused on or solely appropriate for fitness or business or finance. Universal principles are universal, meaning that that you can extrapolate them and utilize them in every scenario that you're in rather than just one. Okay. And that's what these are. These are universal principles. So you can use all of this stuff towards anything else, your career, your family, whatever. Okay. All right. So final thoughts. Living on autopilot or gambling with your goals isn't going to get you where you want to go. Plain and simple. Okay. So by recognizing the power of your subconscious thoughts and habits, setting clear intentions, preparing for success, and understanding the consequences of your actions, you can actually stay aligned with the life that you work towards as opposed to the life that you're running from. Okay. So it's not about perfection. I cannot stress that enough. It is not about perfection. We don't do food avoidance. We don't do all or nothing workouts. We don't do all or nothing anything. We aim for progress and making daily choices that move the needle slowly and subtly. So let this framework guide you to live more intentionally and actually unlock your full potential. So if you feel like you have constantly regained the same 10, 20, 30, or even 50 pounds, you don't have a struggle to lose it, but you just can't keep it off. I highly encourage you to go ahead and click the link below and take my Fat Loss Solutions quiz, where it's going to help you to determine, number one, which of the 6 traps you might be falling into, and number two, it's going to give you some customized, personalized solutions to get out of that trap and to finally get the fat loss that you deserve and to live the fit life that you've been chasing after without feeling miserable, without food avoidance, and without food FOMO and all the stuff that people go through, without the constant shakes and the meta systems and the Nutra things and all the crap. My gosh, man, it gets so exhausting. And if you just apply this the same way that you got successful in your business, in your career, your family, you're going to find success in this area too. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope that this worked. I've been seeing the image looking a little bit choppy, but I'm really, really hoping that it wasn't too bad. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.